G'day, hi, and welcome. Alright, so it is Wednesday night again. My brother's car up ahead. And lights out. I don't know if you can see that. You won't be able to see me again while I'm blogging and driving. My CRV here, my poor little CRV, kind of warm up just ever so slightly. I think I'm going to put my gloves on because my hands are kind of cold. It's not too bad in here. I'll tough it. But no, I got to put the gloves on. I'll tell you why. When it gets to the fall and you go to a jam night or you're going to go play live, your hands have to stay warm, or they don't really cramp up per se, but it makes it harder to play. You play really sloppy when your hands are cold. So I tend to like to have my hands nice and warm. All right, I think I got everything. Violin check. All right, here we go. And yeah, here we go. So tonight's going to be an interesting night. It's electric violin night. This will be my probably last violin I bring out for a while. I've did a lot of. I started with the my beloved Lionhead violin a good while back. Then I went to the 1713 Stradivari, pulled that sucker out. That was a lot of fun that night. And then last week I had the Ornsteiner violin, which, man, you know, it was really cool. That thing is, that's the type of fiddle, like somebody who would be, you know, playing in a country band or something like that, or bluegrass band or anything like that. That is definitely, I was so impressed with that violin. It truly is the world's loudest violin. It was up on stage unmiked in my hands for a little bit, and then I cannot think of the guy's name to save my life. I seen him a couple of times. This guy, the first time I seen him, he was one of the earlier, he was playing that 5-string electric fiddle. I can't remember what the fiddle, the violin is called. It wasn't a Yamaha, it was something else, and he was playing that. The other guy was playing the Gibson Hummingbird. I can't remember. They were hosting, and he was just kind of like there to back up the other guy. And he went up and played a couple of songs with it, unplugged, and it cut right through. Like, I don't know if he could hear what he was playing up there, you know, like the sound under the ears, so to speak, as we violinists will say, or wannabe violinists like myself will say. I'm a guitar player that plays violin, right? But I was like, how was the volume under your ear? He goes, not bad. But from the stage down to the audience, this thing just smacks you in the face. And thanks for keeping your brights on there, you jerk. And yeah, it really did, it really does project. And in the hands of somebody who actually knows how to play the violin, it was really nice to hear it. You will probably see those videos out before you see this one. I got so much footage now from the Cafe 1870. I think it goes well into November of just stuff after stuff. I'll put my stuff out early just because you know, it's my channel. I want to show you guys. I hate waiting to, you know, I'm not going to wait forever and a day to show you what I did, you know what I mean? So you might get a little bit of a bombardment of videos, but I'm trying to do at least 2 videos a day out on this channel. And the other thing I'm trying to do is I gotta get this wheel alignment fixed. Like, you take your eyes off the road for like a 10th of a second, and then you're literally on the other side of the road with this thing. But yeah, you let go of the wheel, and the track's okay. It's just, it's that shock, that broken shock I have, it kind of makes this thing a little bit squirrely. But anyway, I'm constantly going off the road with this thing. It's horrible. Thank God it's got like 8.5 inch. I'm gonna take out somebody's mailbox one day. It's just gonna be horrible. It'll be my fault. I won't blame anybody else. I'll just, you know, whatever. But anyway, as I was saying, so tonight I got the electric violin. showcase it really good. But less is more. Rather than trying to get too fancy tonight, I think that what will be good for me is just kind of showcase the sound. I was going to do a bunch of things, but what happened was I worked Monday and Tuesday, which took up a lot of my practice for what I was going to do. Now, I will be playing the guitar tonight too, providing they let me play the guitar. And the cool thing about that is those songs, well, I'll be doing Drops of Jupiter from Train tonight. I'll see how it goes. Sometimes these ballads, you think they're going to go, everybody's going to be going hooray, hurrah with them. But sometimes people just don't know the song. Like, it's like, these songs that you take for granted that all the songs everybody else knows. But a lot of times it's not the case. So you might do really well, but you won't have a sing-along, and people might not even really care for the ballad. It's maybe not even the way you play it. Maybe you play it superbly, but it's not the right song for the venue. That happens. But that's also a great way, like I say, the jam night's a great way to find out what songs just kind of hit the audience, and they're just like, oh yeah, you got to play that one again. But I really trying to never play the same song twice at a jam night. Why? I can't believe how many songs I have done last week, because last week it was the 17th and marijuana was just legalized in Canada, so to speak. And because of that, nobody came out. Maybe there was a hockey game or something else going on, but there was just nobody out last week at all. So I don't know how many songs I played last week. 6 songs, 7 songs? Quite a few. I even busted out Freebird last week. Pretty cool. And the cool thing about that is that I got to play a lot of songs that, okay, I might never play live again. It's like, okay, I played Mr. Roboto last week. Been wanting to play it, but I didn't do it quite as well as I would have liked. But it's like, am I ever going to play it again? I don't know. I had a bit of a sing-along, but not a big sing-along, but just people being nice and having fun, you know what I mean? So they weren't really into it. They were just enjoying it, you know what I mean? So there was that. But now I know it's not a song that really takes. The Queen song that I'm still working on, I didn't have the time to work on it. Saturday, Sunday, I was too busy. I had to clean the stovepipes, all that stuff. And then, of course, when my dad's home, I don't practice because he doesn't really particularly like my style of music anyway. And I don't like practicing around people, because sometimes I have to play the same song 4 times in a row before I get it. Or I try 4 different ways. Okay, well, I like this version, but maybe I'll try this, and whatever. And they would get very annoyed doing that. And a lot of people don't understand that about musicians, is how much time we spend to get something right, or even half-assed. Never mind getting it right, just getting it good enough to call it half-assed, get the job done. A lot of people don't realize how much time and effort goes into that. And you need your rehearsal spots. It's very hard to do that, especially if you're trying to put together a bunch of shows, like a 3-hour set list or whatever. It can be kind of tough sometimes. Now, some songs, you've just been doing them so long, you never have to practice. But even if you know the song so well, that you don't really have to practice, it's nice to run through everything at least once before you play it. What I'll normally do, because to sit there for 3 hours and play 3 hours of songs, I don't do that very often. But what I might do is, I'll do say the first, if I get a couple of days during the week that I can jam it out at home, what I'll do is the first day I'll do set 1. The second day I'll do set 2. The third day I'll do set 3. Now, where it gets interesting is that usually set 3 is that's when I'm completely warmed up, vocals are warmed up, and everything like that. Those songs, it's kind of like you can't really start with those songs because you're not warmed up enough. So I'll do a couple of warm-up songs, and then I'll hit the second or third set. But I'm also trying to get set lists that... Sorry, a little perched here. Set lists that, let's say you had a cold and you had to go and perform live, and you had to sing. What songs would it be? You know what I mean? Like, what songs can you just kind of sing, not in a monotone, but sing in such a fashion that you just, you know, it doesn't matter. You could eat like a full pizza, right? And go on stage and sing it. Like I'm looking for songs like that require very low ability and get a good response from the crowd, but also don't require you know, a stellar voice to do. Some of these songs require vocals that are much above my vocal ability, and it's only when you hear other people sing that you realize how much you can sing. I can yell in key is what I call it, but if you do it well, a lot of times you don't have to have a stellar sounding voice. I know I don't have a really particularly aesthetically, or not aesthetically, what is it, like a voice that is really pleasing to the ears. I don't have a silky smooth voice. I do gravel tone really well, you know, like, so if I need to belt out power, I'm your guy. But other times it's totally different, where I'm trying to do like that Skid Row song. That requires like a, you know, belting out power with a silky voice. No one's going to do Sebastian Bach better than Sebastian Bach. Sebastian Bach can't even do his voice the way he did in his 20s, you know what I mean? So he kind of, and this is what happens to a lot of these 80s and 90s rock singers and stuff like that, is that they sing so well in their early 20s, and they have so much vocal range and dynamic, and they lose it by the time they're in their 40s or 50s, right? And they just can't sing like that anymore. They're worn out, or they've had, you know, throat operations and all kinds of stuff like that. So they have to change it up, you know, because they can't belt out, they can't hit those second octave notes anymore. I do not have a 2-octave vocal range. It'd be very cool if I did, but reality tells me no, you do not. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because you can work around it in a few different ways. One of the ways you can work around it is that you change the pitch, you change somebody trekking through the dark there. They should be wearing some brighter clothing. But some of the ways you can do it is just do a different dynamic take on the song. And that way, you're not competing with the auto-tunes and all that. And that's the big one, is everybody uses auto-tune now. So even the people that are singing now can't hit the voice, the ranges that they're singing. It's all the auto-tune's doing it for them. You know, it's all, you know, like the smoke and mirrors of the music industry, I guess you would say. And, okay, yeah, brakes are good. Big old truck behind you. But, yeah, so that's what you're competing with now, and a lot of people don't realize that. Like, a lot of your singers, I heard, like, footage, I didn't, a little trivia for you today. It was on the news today at the making of this video. Today is the 20, I forget what day it is today, 24th, I think, 24th, 25th, whatever it is today. Hit Me Baby One More Time, Britney Spears. The song is now 20 years old. My God, I was 25 when that song came out, I guess. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That song's like, whatever. You know, it's like, okay, whatever. Yeah, I'm old, I get it. Oh, going by the fire hall. Wait for it. Wait for it. Anybody out? Come on, somebody be out there. Oh, the guys ain't out tonight. Oh, I give them a little honk anyway. Always good to acknowledge those guys, volunteer firefighters, truckers. Yeah, so I forget where it was. It was a big discussion on auto-tune, and I didn't know what auto-tune was until Cher made that "Do You Believe in Life After Love" song. You know, which she really rocked the auto-tune. I gotta say, she really turned it into an instrument, which was cool. It was just because I think what happened is she probably discovered that she couldn't hit those ranges anymore that she was able to hit in her 20s. or teens or whatever and sing like that anymore. And because she couldn't sing like that anymore, she probably tried to hit a note that she couldn't hit, and the auto-tune makes a funky sound when you're completely out. It has to basically take your vocals and pull them so far drastically into tune that it sounds like you're detuning a guitar. It's like to get it up to pitch. The auto-tune's not good enough. Well, maybe it is now, but back then it wasn't good enough to really bring you up to the pitch that you wanted to be at seamlessly. So then she probably sang and said, you know what, this sounds really freaking cool. It's going to be a hit. Let's try it again. So she gets out of having to sing a whole dynamic range and accidentally discovers this really kind of cool take on the auto-tune. Maybe it was done on purpose right away, I don't know. But I'm guessing that's probably what happened. But now she can't sing that song without the auto-tune because it's kind of like using, what you call it, crybaby, not a crybaby wah, but the fuzz box there, the wah 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 wah. You know, like with the tube that you play the guitar, and nobody uses them anymore, but because all the effects are electronic now. You get the idea. Like it's really cool that you've got that going on, but it's also something a little bit different too, because you're now sitting at a situation where, like I say, you can't do it without it. So for me, I'm kind of the guy that the less is more. If you could sound good without effects at all, holy jeez, dude, give him the brakes. You could sound good without effects at all, then you sound good. You know, I see some of these YouTube singers, and you know, they just got an acoustic guitar, no mic, no nothing, no effects, and they just sound stellar. You know, they're recording off a cell phone, so can you imagine how good they sound in the room that they're singing in? You know, no effects, and they pull that off. I'm like bravo, you know, standing ovation. Like I really admire that kind of talent. It's like it's just appreciated. It's the best I can say. That said, some people get intimidated when somebody's a little bit better at something than you are. I'm a guitar player that yells and screams, who tends to sing, who tends to play other instruments. Oh, this guy's a moron. Can't wait 2 seconds. Can't wait 2 seconds. Everybody's always such a rush. Speed limit's not fast. It doesn't matter how fast you go. There's always somebody that has to go faster. Yeah. These people must be rich, because at the price of fuel, I don't know how the hell you can drive that fast. You know what I mean? Like me, I drive. There's nobody behind me. I drop her down to 80 clicks just to save on the fuel. You know? And this thing's good on fuel. You know what I mean? Like, how they drive 120, 140 and pay their rent, I don't know. A lot of people out tonight, you keep hearing a clicking sound. It's the I beam, low beam, high beam. I get messed up on this thing sometimes. Like, hit the high beam and then I don't quite hit it. Then I think I'm in low beam, but I'm giving people the high beams. I'm a real jerk like that. I don't do it on purpose. I don't try to be a jerk on purpose. It just comes naturally to me. Like I say, sometimes people are just good at things, right? I'm good at being a jerk. I mean, no point in changing now. You know, halfway through my lifespan, no point in changing now. It pays to specialize. If anybody needs a professional jerk, I'm your guy. I'm cheap too. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can, you know, rent a jerk, $20 an hour. There you go. New business. But anyway, so I was listening one time to a discussion on auto-tune, and there was these people pulling out all these like auto-tune mishaps on these pop stars. Britney Spears just happened to be one of them, but there was other ones where they're singing and all of a sudden the auto-tune goes out, and like, oh my God, are these people tone deaf? And I'll tell you why they're tone deaf. They probably do have an okay voice. And the reason why they probably have an okay voice is because they know how to sing. But the problem is they got so bloody used to the auto-tune that they don't train their voice to actually stay in tune. So when the auto-tune goes out, they sound like they're holding their nose in a tunnel. while they're singing. You know what I mean? They just don't sound good at all. Someone who I always thought was a good singer, and I wasn't always crazy about her music, but she's got some catchy tunes, was Avril Lavigne. That girl can sing. You got to give her that. She can sing. She can belt. Yeah, she uses the auto-tune. She uses all that stuff. But I've seen her do acoustic jams and stuff like that without the auto-tune. The girl can sing. She's got a good voice. She doesn't have a 2-octave voice, but she has a good voice. Some people are just like that. Sheryl Crow, she can sing. She has a great voice. You know what I mean? I don't know about now, but I've always thought her voice was really good. It's audio pleasing, not aesthetic pleasing, but the audio is very pleasing. So some people like that. The girl that sang with Meatloaf, the first one, powerful voice. Yeah. Taylor Swift, I guess she has an okay voice. I don't think she has a phenomenal voice. I don't know. I don't really listen to people like her, right? But you're going to hear these tunes. These people are so popular that you're going to hear their tunes eventually. So it is, women tend to have naturally pleasing sounding voices, but not all of them. There's some that just can't sing. A woman that I always thought sang really well, and apparently she's playing live not too far from here in the next couple of weeks, is Biff Naked, where, her scratchy cat screeching voice is pretty cool, it's raunchy, whatever, but then her melodic voice is just beautiful. It's just the perfect blend of raunch and soulful and powerful and stuff like that, and it makes it unique. So we got all these people that, they sang before the auto-tune really took over, you know what I mean? And I think they honed in on that. But some of the best acts you'll ever see live don't use auto-tune. And they'll go out. I jump out of key all the time, but it's easier to stay in key when you don't have those effects. People that use a lot of chorus on their voice, people that use a lot of reverb. Reverb is a double-edged sword. You have just the right amount of reverb, it warms up your voice. You have too much, and you're just echoing. You know what I mean? It just becomes really muddy. And so sometimes less is more. Getting back to the violin tonight, I will be playing through the board. So whatever the board has, that's what I'll be playing with. So hopefully he can adjust it so it's not too bassy or too tinny or whatever. It's going to be a tough one on that, but it's just to give people a sample. So even if it doesn't sound the greatest, it's only going to be one tune, right? But I'm more trying to razzle-dazzle with my playing rather than worrying about the total qualities. If I have the whole stage to myself, that's a different story. Yeah, you can really wrangle in the sound, and even playing straight through the board, you can make a cheap instrument sound okay. It's amazing what some people could do with ukuleles. I want to pick one up just because. I miss my mandolin. Sure, I talked about that before. But I think a ukulele would be a really cool instrument. I see people on stage with like $25 ukuleles, and they just sound awesome. I'm like, dude, that's epic. You know what I mean? It's completely epic. How do you do that, And it's like, how do you make that thing not sound like a toy? And then, of course, there's people that buy like $1,000 ukuleles and stuff like that. I cannot understand what would make a ukulele $1,000. But there are $1,000 ukuleles out there. I don't know what the world's most expensive ukulele would be, but yeah, who would take it? I mean, I'm looking at a smiley face one for $50, and hopefully someday I can afford it. I think that thing would be cool to bring on stage because it'd be funny, But then you go belt out a really cool tune as long as it's in tune. Being in tune and sounding naturally good is more. We'll call it the difference between, we'll say, effects and no effects. Sounding good, not sounding good. Sounding good with effects is like having a turbo in your car. You'll get there, but you're not getting there quite naturally. There's no replacement for a naturally aspirated engine. You know what I'm saying? Where it just, the power, the rawness, the ambience, the stuff that, even though effects can give you a little bit more enhancement, effects also take away sometimes too. And And it's really hard to find good quality sounding guitar effects or even vocal effects. It's easy to find cheap stuff. Now, you know, it'll make it sound cool or whatever. But again, at some point, it becomes so artificial sounding that it's so processed that it just doesn't sound good anymore. And I'm one of those guys that I don't want to not sound good. I like things to be able to stand on their own. One instrument. One thing that I like about YouTube is that you get, you know, any sort of musician you can think of, you can hear, right? And one thing I hate is when I'm researching like violin tunes, everybody's playing with a backing track, which they sound great, but I'm like, it's like karaoke for me at that point. I love the person that just does it all, you know, without the extra bit. Like I say, like sometimes less is just more, where they, you know, play a song just on the one instrument. Like there's no backing track, there's no extra fillers, there's no auto-tune, there's no, you know, $5,000 studio making you sound good. There's no overdubs, whatever. When I see one person with a guitar or a violin playing and singing, okay, and I see them playing and singing, and there's, okay, maybe they use a really good sound mic and maybe a little bit of reverb or something like that, and they just nail it. But there's no overdubs, there's no, okay, here's where the solo would go, so here's the second, you know. It's like, no, this person is producing this sound real time. You know, I don't want to hear a second guitar there if there's only one guitar player, you know what I mean? I want to hear you play it yourself. But then, why not spin it so that you can get away with doing whatever? For example, some songs, okay, you have a guitar solo right in the middle. Well, you can't just wail into the guitar solo simply due to the fact that if you did, there'd be a big hole in the song. You just can't do it, right? But sometimes you can substitute the guitar solo with something you came up with your own and change the song around a bit. Sure, there'll be people who come say, well, that's not how the song goes. But trust me, they won't, the majority of people won't care if that's not how the song goes, if they got something interesting. Plus, you made it your own. You know what I mean? You didn't write the song, but it's now your own version. I do that all the time. Hey, because they don't learn things note for note. Note for note. I was never really good at that. I always like to get it close. Whatever. I always found bass players kept me honest. Where it's like, okay, I'm going to play the song this way. And the bass player, no, that's not how it goes, man. It goes like this, 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 and this. You know, so okay, well, we'll play it the right way then. And I do that, and it would sound good. But I said, guys, I want to add this in here. There's one of those songs that, okay, it has a really great rhythm line, okay? And it's got a really lot of potential for a song to really, really shine, right? Like, I used to like Nirvana tunes. I used to, be honest with you, I never really liked Nirvana. I was never a fan. I didn't dislike them. I was just, I mean, who records an album without a tuned guitars? You know what I mean? I understand that was done as a music ploy to kind of thumb up at the music industry, but you got to understand that, okay, yeah, that wasn't much of a thumb up to the music industry, considering it was an executive decision to do it. Kurt Cobain, you know, admitted after, said, no, they wanted the guitars ever so slightly out of tune, like just, you know, a hair out of tune, not like completely out of tune, but just to make it sound more grungy and more raw, right? You look at the Foo Fighters, how good they are. That's how Nirvana should have sounded. Was that more polished off sound? And it was every bit as good. But what they were trying to do was start a new industry of really horrible musicians. This was something that the grunge scene was trying to establish way back in the day. The grunge scene killed the guitar solo. I mean, Green Day, they barely did any guitar solos. Really catchy, tight rhythms. Okay, so it's more punkish, right? But one thing I'll say about Green Day is they were a very tight, they still are a very tight sounding band, especially their earlier stuff. The drummer for Green Day I always thought was just fantastic. In fact, some of the best drummers in the world I think are punk drummers. They're so dynamic and they're quick, they're edgy. they're technical, you know what I mean? But yet, they have this less is more kind of concept, so whenever they do a fill or a roll, it's really tight and fast, but then they just get back to business without trying to throw the song out of whack to the point where nobody knows what's going on, where it's not over so technical. But yet, a good punk drummer is really, it's a blessing to jam with a really good punk drummer. If you've ever jammed with a really good punk drummer, you'll know what I'm talking about. You don't even have to play punk. It sounds really, really good. It's tight. The other drummers that are really phenomenal to jam with are jazz drummers. Again, really tight. In fact, I think most punk drummers are just sped up jazz drummers. That's what they are. I know that that's not a fair comparison or whatever, but in the style, the way they conduct their styles, there's a crossover there. These speedy little, wispy little, stuff like that, and then they kind of go a little bit wombat on you for a little bit, and then they pull the song right back in. But the song never loses; it never has a hole in it. You know, it never changes dynamic. It's so solid and straightforward. A good drummer makes a band. Not to stroke the ego of drummers out there, but the better your drummer is, usually the better your sound is. A good guitar player is only going to be as tight as his drummer, right? At best. Me, I'm sloppy as hell. I know I'm sloppy as hell. I catch myself, and I'm trying to improve. I'm getting better. The problem is that you start not jamming with a drummer or jamming with some sort of a timing machine. I'll tell you what happens. You get sloppy, especially when you sing and play. You tend to follow your vocals sometimes. I do it all the time. Sometimes I do it for dynamic reasons, but a lot of times it skips the timing all over the place. So you speed up, you slow down, you speed up, you slow down. So you really want to stay as consistent on your timing as possible, because your timing is everything through a song. Don't ever forget that, you know what I mean? You really need your timing to hold the song together, because if you don't, well, people are simply just not going to get into it, you know what I mean? So whatever pace you start at, you got to work within that pace. Now, some songs jump around on the timing. Fair enough. Whatever. But there's still a smoothness and transition that you have to work out, which comes back to timing, right? So sometimes less is more. Slow it down. A lot of times if you figure you're playing right on, you're still playing too fast. I always play too fast. I don't know why it is. I'm like, okay, this seems like I'm going at a comfortable place, but then I listen to it, it's like, it's much faster than it's recorded. You know what I mean? And then, but as long as it sounds tight and it sounds good, it's not so bad. But sometimes it's just like, you slow it right down, you're like, oh, this is so slow, but then you listen to it, it's like, no, that's dead on. But you feel like you're playing it so slow. I don't know why that is. And other people, it's like, they just play so slow, they can't play anything fast at all. And that's just as bad. Because then it's like, okay, we're going to have to check this guy for a pulse. You know what I mean? Like, there's no flow to the song. There's no, it's too slow. And, so getting the timing right, like I say, especially when you're getting used to it, even if you're experienced at it, if you find like, okay, you're starting to make mistakes, that's why you should always record yourself live. Is that you catch these mistakes. It's like, yeah, it sounded good, but it would sound just a little bit better if I watch the speed and the tempo of it and the timing. Okay, then it's going to sound better. You know what I mean? Because I do tend to play at a very moderate speed, but a lot of times when I start ripping into it, I play fast. I play really fast. And if you're singing and you're playing too fast, your vocals are going to suck. You need time to breathe. I don't know how this happened. I got Pepsi all over myself. I got my hands on my steering wheel. Face. I think I'm a 2-year-old. Jeez. So, at the end of the night, tonight, I don't know what tonight's going to be like. Hopefully there's more people than there was last time. But it was kind of fun, though, to have the stage to myself a bit, because it's good practice. And I was goofing around a lot last week anyway, and I had a lot of fun on that. Goofing around and stuff like that. I always do. Holy traffic tonight. There better be a lot of people out tonight for this much traffic. To wear out my freaking toggle switch. Damn it. I swear to God. I'm just going to leave it on the low beam. Screw it. good exercise for my fingers before I go on stage. You know, it limers me up. maybe there's a silver lining under that cloud somewhere. Speaking of clouds, yeah, it is pretty cloudy tonight. So, yeah. So if it's a slow night again, I'm going to stay on stage as long as they allow me. So again, I don't know how many songs let's see, what did I do last week? I know I did Freebird by request. That was fun. Lovers in a Dangerous Time. I did that one. They even had Jill Gillespie from Hamilton. Shout out to him. It was nice jamming with him. He came up and we kind of extended the song a bit. He threw the harmonica on there. I did Going Down, Bruce Springsteen. I did Who Do You Love? George Thorogood. I did that on the Gretsch guitar. That was really cool. I did, what else did I do? Always Bon Jovi. I thought that song was really going to, you know, sink into the crowd, but maybe there just wasn't enough people there. But yeah, nobody was really, didn't seem like anybody really fancied it. Mr. Roboto, I did Mr. Roboto. What else did I do? I mean, I got quite a few songs up there. I played the violin. Did, I forget what else I did. I think I might have did a couple more. Oh, Sylvia's Mother, did that one. I thought that one was going to be a hit. That one always is a hit. You know, maybe they're just not hillbilly enough for it. I don't know. But that song usually always is a hit. Every time I played, I got people screaming along with it. But people enjoyed it, but they weren't crazy about it. But that one stayed in the set though, because usually anywhere I play that one, I always get a really good. Wow, man, you sound just like Dr. Hook. Wow, man. Wow. You know what I mean? You know, you have to do the Rolling Stone cover. I haven't done any Rolling Stones. Speaking of Rolling Stones, I got a couple of them that I want to do. I used to do a lot of Stones. Rolling Stones always does well. But which one do you do? Now, I haven't practiced them in a while, so it's like, I like to practice. I'd like to do Angie live. I never did Angie live. I did Wild Horses live many times. That one always does well. 19th Nervous Breakdown. I've been playing that one for years. I haven't played it in a long time, but whatever. Symphony for the Devil. Can't Always Get What You Want. Satisfaction. I used to. Hey, and then some of the other, I guess, slightly newer stuff. Don't Stop. Don't Stop. Don't Stop. That's a good tune. Out of Tears did that one. I think one night I did a Rolling Stones tribute. It was like 10 songs. I was doing an opening act somewhere, and I said, I want to do a Rolling Stones tribute. They're like, okay. And I did that. It was cool. I think, yeah. Well, I know one night, maybe it was a jam night. I don't know if I was opening up for somebody or if it was a jam night, whatever. But I was playing it on a Gibson SG Standard, the 90s model. And I think I even threw in some Black Sabbath, Fairies Wear Boots, and I think I did for those about the rock and Rocker and what do you call it, Highway to Hell. So it turned into Rolling Stones AC/DC night. It was pretty cool. I think I did Welcome to the Jungle. It was just, there was hardly anybody in there, and everybody was just having a good time. It was one of those things, kind of like last weekend. But I'm hoping there's a lot of people this weekend. Even if I don't get as many songs out there, I like a big audience. Bigger, the better. Why? It's just, you're giving people something. And it's not even an ego thing or whatever. It's just, I want to give the music, even if it's something ripping off other people's tunes and playing them live. I just want to give that to the people. You know what I mean? I just enjoy doing this. I hope you guys enjoy watching it. But also, too, it's cool to see what songs work live and what songs don't, right? And you play live, it really does change your musical abilities. It really does, because again, it's always a one-take wonder of, are you going to nail this one or are you going to bomb on it? And sometimes, things happen, things happen. But yeah, I've done probably close to 40 songs at this jam night thing. I mean, that's over a 3-hour set. You know what I mean? Like, I started, I think, in August 16th was the first jam night that I did. I haven't missed a week. I know it's going to probably die down a little bit in the winter. I mean, if it's like minus 40 out or whatever and really cold, I probably won't be coming out, which will make it a very long winter. But if the roads are clear, And I don't know how this car is going to be. My little SUV here is going to be in the winter anyway. Like, is it going to start on me? You know what I mean? My cousin Jordan said he never plugged this thing in once last winter. And I know there was a couple of minus 30, minus 40 days last winter. So, I mean, I just don't want to be stuck sleeping in my CRV. It's just something I don't want to happen. And I also don't want to be caught in a snowstorm and stuff like that. So if I have to kind of dial it back a bit, okay. But, you know, by next, well, hopefully fairly soon, hopefully even before next year, I really want to have next year, I want to be playing a lot of live music, full shows. The nice thing about full shows, even if I can only do one full show a month, I would like that because it gives me time to come up with new songs, because sometimes you'll play a whole bunch of songs live and it's like, you know, these songs just didn't resonate with the crowd. Next time I'll bring about this. So you never hear me play the same set list over and over again. And that becomes a problem with a lot of bands, a lot of musicians, is things get stagnant when they're always playing the same songs over and over again. Now there's some classics that you know, you just got to pull them out and once in a while. But it's nice to rotate those too. That you're not just doing you know, the same classics each time. That you can rotate them up. Eagles, I got lots of Eagles stuff. But I mean, how many more times am I going to play Hotel California live? You know what I mean? Although it always does well, especially when you have a double neck guitar and you do it with the 12 string, it blows people away. And but I don't have the 12 string anymore. You know what I mean? I don't have the double neck anymore. I do kind of regret getting rid of that guitar. Why am I flicking the lights for? Nobody there. Have you gone cuckoo? You light flicking. My hands in like light flicking mode right now. It's like, yeah. But all in all, I gotta tell you guys, trying different instruments live is also fun too. It showcases that, okay, you might not be the most talented at everything, but it shows that you do have a lot of talent. And you never know who's in the audience either. Sometimes people say, hey, you know what, we're looking for a guy to do this or do that, and you do that. And yeah, you know, things like that happen. Unique instruments, even if you didn't bring them in for an entire 3-hour set, you could bring them in. Oh, geez, that guy's going fast. So was that guy. I guess the speed limit's just way too slow. Like, those guys are really moving. What's the matter with you, man? Such a rush. That's what happens when everybody freaking drinks Red Bull. Everybody's freaking speeding. And those two guys are like 30 feet from behind the other guy's bumper. Why? Because, well, I might get there 10 seconds later than you. Oh my God. You know what I mean? Like, geez. People get killed in accidents. Back off, man. Back off. That's my road rage for today. I like having road rage. It's kind of fun. Yeah, it's kind of fun. I have like comical road rage. I don't have like, you know, my vein on my forehead's going to burst, anger, road rage. But there are people that do. People that are always in a hurry. Yeah, so tonight, I don't know what my second song is going to be, like song. The first piece is going to be the electric violin, providing we can hook it up. Might not be able to hook it up properly, it's hard to say. The second tune is going to be Drops Jupiter from Train. But the third song, it depends which way the crowd's going. I mean, I could pull out another Bruce Springsteen song. There's what you call it, so many songs. Like I practiced about 8 songs today. Say, well, I wanted to get different variations. So, like, if it's a really mellow night, that I'm not. Woo, there's that corner again. That corner's always sneaks up on me. This thing doesn't like tight corners. This thing, it travels okay, but it's got a short wheelbase, so it's like whenever you move the wheel too fast, it's so jerky. Plus with the alignment slightly out. It's not bad, but it's like, it's not dangerous, but you know, it is out a bit. So. It's like you get these little hang-back corners, like, oh, it wasn't right on the motorbike. Not so great on the my support boxy little CRV. Yeah. little unicorn, my little money maker. I mean, the fact that I've so far made more money than I put into it, including all the gas. This thing owes me nothing already. But however, I'd like it to pay for itself at least 10 times before it dies on me. So, who knows, right? Maybe I'll get another 250,000 miles out of it. It's already at 39,000. I've already went over the, yeah, I put a lot of mileage on this thing. A lot of fun. Definitely not a Porsche Cayman, but it's got the horn of hell on it. Love this horn. You guys have no idea how much that horn means to me. I think it's the best horn ever. My nephew loves it. Scares the shit out of everybody. I love it. I annoy my entire town with this thing, which makes me happy. Is that wrong? I don't care. Why? Because I got a horn. Although, I would like to hook up a second battery and just put in like a gigantic, like, ship horn on, just strap it right to the top of the roof. This big freaking bugle horn on there. Oh, yeah. That would be awesome. That'd be awesome, I'll tell you. But I'm looking forward to playing the electric fiddle tonight. That should be interesting. Hopefully it won't be too, hopefully I'll be able to rein it in so it's not too shitty sounding. Because it's funny that you get the E really tinny and then the G string is really overly bassy, and it's like it just peaks everything, right? So hopefully, but again, the dynamic in my playing will take care of a lot of that anyway, but it's nice to be able to kind of press into it a little bit with the bow and get a little more out of it. Hopefully I don't have too much rosin on the bow. But I think I rosined it up good enough that it should have just the proper amount of bite without being too scratchy, right? And got a couple of tips from that fiddler last week about drawing the bow and so that. So don't worry about the rosin. Just apply a little more pressure. It's more about the evenness. Bowing is the secret to playing a violin. The left hand stuff, the fingering, that's easy. That is actually quite easy for me. As long as you know what the pattern is, it's really easy. The thing is getting the right hand up to par and drawing the bow smoothly, etc., etc. That's what really makes or breaks a fiddler. So yeah, I'll bring out the violin, and then next week I'll be back to my hopefully 4 songs. The sound man, he's kind of taken a liking to me. He usually lets me off with an extra song. It's 3 songs or 15 minutes, but as long as it's not jam-packed too much, then yeah, okay, I can do a 4th song. But if it's really jammed, then no. I got to respect the area. But I'll always try to squeeze in an extra song. You know what I mean? Most of the time, I'm just about the 15 minutes dead on, because I do tend to blab with the audience a little bit. But that's part of the fun too. Breathing in between the songs, as I call it, where you're going to talk about, throw out a joke or something, but you can't sit there and procrastinate too much. I've seen people do that where they have so little of material to play that they'll talk for like 15 minutes. Like between each, like 5 minutes between each song, or 3 minutes between each song, and tell you a big elaborate story. Now the violin thing is different, but I factor that into my okay, well, that's a part of the show. You know what I mean? Like it's where that guy didn't even look that it was coming. But it's like I factor that into the show. Tonight there's not going to be really much. It's like, hey, I got an electric violin here, enjoy. You know what I mean? It's not going to be this is a rare violin from this year, that year, whatever. And I thought that was a police officer. I'm not speeding anyway, so. The good thing about this is this vehicle's, if you're speeding, you're doing it on purpose. Like, you're really doing it on, like, it's just, it's so mellow, kind of slow. Slow's okay. Slow steady wins the race. Well, technically that's a falsehood. Slow and steady doesn't, the Leadfoot wins the race. I mean, have you ever seen a NASCAR driver say slow and steady wins the race? No, they're floored, man. They're going to floor it. you know, these open wheel cars, if our wheels touch, you die too. So you better get out of my way. Why? Because I'm flooring it. Why? It's not. It's freaking F1, man. Get out of my way. You know. So slow and steady doesn't win the race, but slow and steady's a good pace. There we go. That's what we're gonna go with. Yeah. Almost there into the big wild town of Wakefield there now, and so I'm looking forward to playing the electric violin for the first time live. Won't be a problem for anybody to hear me. Hopefully they like what they hear. But people seem they respond to it positively. I don't know if it's pity claps or if they're just like, okay, well, that's kind of cool. I do get compliments. I'm like, oh, that's interesting what you're doing, because it sounds so different, right? So it's kind of like, well, I've never heard violin played quite that way before. So is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Nobody really knows. It's like it's a weird thing that just happened. Some sort of, you know, kind of take us on a galactic journey, Reg. So somebody said that to me last week. And then so I said, no, I'm going to slow it down. And then somebody yells Freebird. So then I didn't slow it down. I played Freebird. That's kind of fun. That was kind of fun. So, and you'll see all that on the other channel. The other thing you're going to see is a lot of performances from other people too. I usually try to capture at least one performance per person, because I only get about an hour time on the GoPro, roughly, which is not bad considering. If you film for an hour straight, trust me, you've got a lot of footage. Darts night. A lot of people at darts, so there should be a lot of people at the pub at Cafe 1870 tonight. So it's like, what was I saying there? Sorry, got some construction coming up. They have a light or something here. Route barrier, what the hell? What do you mean route barrier? How do we get around? Okay, so how do I get out of here now? This is different. Should hope the club's open. I don't know how to get around. How do you get out of Wakefield? Where do we go? I don't understand this. Something weird happening here. Hang on, I just gotta. Hey guys! How do you get out of Wakefield? Oh, up and over. I just actually going right to Cafe 1870 there.
Oh, well, just park here and walk.
Yeah. That doesn't go around, eh?
No.
No way.
Just have to walk through there.
Yeah, I'm like, it's like barrier closed. I'm like,
It's right there.
How do you get out of Wakefield now?
Yeah. I would probably park. Oh no, you could park there.
Yeah.
You park here, and then if you want to get out of Wakefield, you have to go back on the highway.
Yeah, well, I'm going back the other way anyway later on there, but I just kind of find it funny. It's like, wasn't expecting that. So. Yeah. It's like, okay. Yeah.
I just parked in that parking lot, and then there's a little path to walk through.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would care.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah. Well, I could always park
Half
at
the
the
people at our cafe are parked back there.
Yeah. Okay.
There's
All right. Thanks. Put up the window. People are trapped in the town. That's kind of funny. All right, so hopefully this guy doesn't. Maybe I can sneak out another way. This is a CRV after all. No. Maybe what I'll do is, I know what I'm going to do. Why? Because my luck, everybody's going to be toe happy. And I have time anyways. I'll go back, and that means I'll have no problem getting a parking space at a Cafe 1870. Nice. But I gotta get around it. So I'm trying to think of how we can get around it. Go up and over. The time's probably gonna run out on the camera here, and when it does, it does. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna head back the other way. That is kind of funny. Maybe I'll just park at the Black Sheep Inn. That's more, just because that's not a bar there that I'm parking at there, and it could be more. Yeah. Yeah, I'll go up and around the other way. Not that I don't trust anybody around here breaking in or anything like that, but it doesn't hurt to. Just trying to think of how to get to. Okay, oh, I missed that way. I missed it. Just trying to think of the easiest way to get up and around. So I can come down the other side. So yeah, I got a bit of a Murphy into the evening anyway. That goes up to the hospital. So I'll come down the other side. Okay, well I'll go back to the lights. Go up over and around. That is one hell of a detour I got to take. At least I put a little bit of extra gas in here tonight, so okay, it should be okay. Put an extra $5 in here tonight. I don't want to park there because it's kind of far. If I can park at Cafe 1870, I'll park there. If I can't park at the Cafe 1870, I don't know where to park. I'll have to park there. I'll have to come all the way around again. Yeah, that could kind of suck. So anyway, I'm going to figure this out. And hopefully there's going to be people there tonight because that might be a bit of a, we'll call it a deterrence for people going out tonight. Hopefully there's going to be people out tonight. I can see that. Watch the place be closed. It's like, oh, there's construction all around us. We're closed for tonight. But they announced that there was going to be somebody there tonight, so I can't see why they would be closed. It's just they're building something right beside the Cafe 1870. I don't know what it is. Construction around here is quite. It's starting to be one of those little towns that it was a little town forever, and now it's starting. It's starting to build a lot quicker. So, yeah, it just kind of is what it is. So, yeah, and then there's that. You know what I mean? That's the way it is. All right, so, yeah. So, I'll let you know after the show's done.